So I've been thinking about what it takes to be a good critic, because I guess that's what we do on this channel, criticism or something. If it doesn't work out, we can always pivot to Counter-Strike loot box streams, because everything is gambling now, hooray. To be a good critic, I think it's important to be a lover as well as a hater, and something you should know about me is that I love a rubbish video game movie tie-in. My childhood was full of them. I spent my Christmases unwrapping abortive adaptations of Disney intellectual properties, like Stuart Little, Tarzan, Shrek. This was a glorious era of trash. A relic of a time in which games were popular enough but still cheap enough that it was worth throwing some money at third-party developers and giving them a 10-minute deadline to make a game out of the B-movie. Another thing you need to know about me is that I love the television show House. I love it despite its many, many flaws. I love it despite the episode in which Chase kisses a terminally ill child, or the one where House stabs a plug socket to check whether heaven is real, or the one where a guy is really fat and that's the whole plot, or that idiotic pro-life episode where House holds hands with a fetus and also the guy from All American Rejects is there, or the very abrupt, sudden ending of season 7, which only happened because the producers couldn't be bothered to keep paying Lisa Edelstein what she deserved. This show is balanced right on the tightrope between actually good and delightful trash. I'm almost as addicted to this show as kids are addicted to opening loot boxes, because everything is gambling. There's no logical reason for this show to be good. It's a Sherlock adaptation set in a hospital where instead of murders, they solve medical diagnoses. That sounds rubbish, but it's carried by good writing, which weaves complicated medical terminology with witty jokes and dramatic tension, though the occasional drops in quality are extremely obvious, and it does often get lost in the weeds of like,
this guy's an atheist, but other people believe in God, what the heck? Wow, it's 2007 and this is interesting to me.
It's also carried by the performance of Hugh Laurie. Note to editor, check if Hugh Laurie's ever posted anything dodgy. No, seems fine. No offence to the rest of the cast, apart from Jesse Spencer, who seems like a prick, but Laurie is basically the only reason this show has held my interest for 20 years. So you know what this character-driven medical drama needs? Video game. In 2009, a company called Legacy Interactive signed a deal to publish video game adaptations of House M.D. and Murder, She Wrote, citing the dynamism in the casual games market, unquote, which I think basically means it's 2007 and old people love Wii Tennis, so maybe they like video games now. Legacy Interactive are a company who've published hundreds of this sort of odd point-and-click thing since 1998, and they're still going strong today, with an active website full of AI slop. The actual development was done by Glyphic Entertainment, a company whose only proof of existence is a website last updated in 2010, on which the Jobs tab is just the words, "Due to the severe downturn in the nation's economy, Glyphic Entertainment is not currently hiring." Sounds bad. Luckily, that'll never happen again. Given this ominous statement, would it surprise you to learn that House M.D. for the PC and Nintendo DS is not very good? The first thing you're struck by is the visuals, which are rendered through traced over frames from the actual show that sit within the depths of the uncanny valley. It's certainly a time-efficient way of cranking out the hundreds of different drawings that this game required, but it's not exactly tasteful. It feels uncomfortably close to 1990s educational software. Damn, kids today will never know the horror of only being able to play video games about maths on a beige computer. Games are so much better for young people today. Almost makes up for the fact that no one wants to employ any young people because tech bros are convinced that a machine that makes ugly pictures of wizards is their new god. But Fortnite, am I right? House M.D. PC DS is essentially a visual novel interspersed with odd multiple choice challenges and some terribly boring minigames. It's like if Ace Attorney interrupted you every 10 minutes to play Put the Shape in the Hole. The game contains 5 episodes, for which the quality of the writing is fine, but it's a pale imitation of the actual show. Some of the jokes are just a bit one note, but it also veers into genuinely irresponsible territory, like the eating disorder subplot, which is handled extremely poorly. And there's a sprinkling of R slurs and T slurs, in case you forgot that this is from the 2000s.
Hashtag Y2K, retro nostalgia, big jeans, sparkly things, slurs, hooray!
When playing this today, there's a rush of adrenaline from bracing yourself for House to drop a full F slur, but this is counteracted by the game being even more boring than a Taub storyline. I love my wife, but I'm addicted to cheating on my wife. Shut up, Taub. I'm gonna drive a car into your house. It tries to make you feel like you're decoding patient history by giving you multiple choice questions to ask them. The correct answer is sometimes indicated by a prompt clue. Mostly, it feels random. Random like that time House drove a car into a house. It tries to make you feel like you're thinking up a diagnosis by having you click words that match a slowly filling hangman puzzle. Ooh, penicillium marnefiae. I love gameplay. It tries to make you feel like you're doing doctor stuff by hand-holding you through inspecting skin, collecting blood, and doing a lumbar puncture. You even get to do one of House's classic emergency tracheotomy procedure scenes. It's a good TV show. The most inexcusable minigame has you operating a blood centrifuge by clicking some valves and spinning some dials. You then get to pick molecules out of a petri dish and sort them by colour and shape. Wow, I love the dynamism of the casual games market. The problem with these mini-games is that they're not really games. You don't learn some simple rules before being challenged on them. There's no escalation. You're stopped at every single part of the process and told exactly what to click. This would be fine as quick-time events in between actual gameplay, but this blood-spinning adventure happens multiple times an episode. I haven't been this irritated since that time House went to a psychiatric unit and his roommate was Lin-Manuel Miranda. That's real, look it up. So the game lets you do all the things House does in the show. Medical procedures, diagnosis brainstorming, sexual harassment, the whole gang's here, including breaking into people's homes and looking for clues. Did I say looking for clues? I meant clicking on things. Clicking. Clicking on things. The funniest thing it recreates from the show is House's famous epiphanies, that moment when he stares into the distance and furrows his handsome brow. It recreates this through Breakout. You tap a ball against light bulbs. Whoever designed this should win an award and then have that award taken away from them for the blood centrifuge minigame. If you do good, you'll see the handsome boyish face of Robert Sean Leonard. If you do badly, Lisa Edelstein scowls at you with her incredible bone structure. If you do mediocrely, you get to look at Hugh Laurie again. So the stakes are low, because none of these outcomes are a punishment, to be honest. So look, I mainly made this out-of-date video because this game is self-evidently very funny. Of course it's a bad game. If you looked at this box and thought there was any chance of it being good, you'd be diagnosed with hyperocular me-no-see-so-good-itis. But there's a couple of reasons I find this game's badness interesting. It's a prime example of the half-arsed efforts of late 2000s casual gaming. It's an object of pure cynicism, from an era of hasty shovelware trying to appeal to gaming grandmas without respecting them. This was the last gasp of games trying to cater to an underserved market, before Candy Crush came along and captured the free time of everyone who remembers the Kennedy administration. The other reason I find the House game interesting is that it's hard to make a good detective game, and it's very hard to make a good medical game. House is a detective show that takes place in a hospital. How could this have ever worked? The difficult thing about a detective game is that gameplay has to take place inside your head. You have to make a lateral deduction based on the information in front of you, and there needs to be a user interface that lets you input that deduction without giving away the answer. For me, and for Game Maker's Toolkit, who I basically copied that last paragraph from, Obra Dinn is the perfect detective game. Parts of it are quite tricky. Imagine if instead of basic deductions about who people are or whether their accent is Welsh, you had to use actual medical knowledge to deduce whether someone has mesothelioma. So, since we're so clever, you and me, differential diagnosis. How would we make a house game? Pitch 1. Let's make a genuine medical simulator. Let's ask a programmer to encode a fully realistic simulation of the human body right down to molecular level. Humans only have 2 × 10 to the 25 molecules, so that should be easy enough. He can do overtime. The player then gets to do genuine medical tests using physics-based objects and look up the symptoms in an actual medical textbook. Also, let's write a sprawling conversation tree with over 1 billion possible questions to ask the patient. Then let's add a button that lets you call people a moron. Okay, I'm being told by my investors that it's too expensive unless I add a battle pass system. What else we got? Pitch 2. Let's copy Papers, Please. Let's have a short list of diseases with certain symptoms which you have to cross-reference and confirm. With each case, the list of possibilities expands, and you develop enough experience to automatically make deductions based on the confluence of symptoms. You have a limited supply of Vicodin points, which you can spend on automatically eliminating answers, but if you use too many of them, you get sent to Season 8 jail. Also, the moron button is still there. Is that boring? It's not quite Taub levels of boring, but it's not much above Foreman. And it feels like it's missing something it needs in order to be a real game in 2026. Oh, hold on. Pitch 3, gambling. Everything is gambling now, so let's make it gambling. Patient comes in and you just keep spinning a wheel and trying random medical procedures until the patient's cured. That's basically what they did in the show, right? And then maybe sometimes on the wheel you can win special house skins and gamble with them on secondary marketplaces. And then basically we make $100 billion and never need to work again, and then we lay off all of our developers. I mean, if it works for Fortnite, it could work for us.